Welcome into the Picks, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. And here is a fun, weird fact. I like sprinkling these into my videos every once in a while. We're in the back half of the regular season. It's week 7 of the Texas high school football season, which means that we are careening headlong into the Texas high school football playoffs. And before you know it, it's going to be December and we're going to be talking about heading for AT&T Stadium. It's kind of crazy, right? You know, week 7, we're now firmly into the second month of the season, and we're starting to get a feel for who the real teams are that have an opportunity to play in Arlington and maybe the teams that are falling by the wayside. Week 6, I think, was perfectly emblematic of that. You had some big time upsets, games we didn't see coming. You had some games we thought were going to be excellent that were absolutely lived up to the hype. This is a critical juncture in the Texas high school football season, especially as district play is heating up for almost every team in the state. We are going to separate the contenders from the pretenders. This is a massive week of Texas high school football with huge games in every corner of the state. We start in the crossroads. 7 o'clock Friday night at Memorial Stadium in Victoria. It is a District 13 5A Division II showdown as the Victoria West Warriors welcome in the Alamo Heights Mules. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, points. Points in bold letters, points in capital letters, points underlined and italicized, and all of the cool things you can do with text. Points. There are going to be a lot of points in this game because these two points-based offenses are very pointsy and they score a lot. These are 2 of the top 10 offenses in all of 5A Division II, and they have plenty of superstars themselves. You look at the Alamo Heights offense with running back DK Garza, I think one of the very best backs in all of San Antonio, going up against the Victoria West offense that has a lot of balance to them. Quarterback Nolan Boyce is a great dual threat, and I love what they get from the running game with Genesis Jeffries back there. These two offenses can absolutely fly. With all this hanging in the balance, which offense shows up best on Friday night? Key number 2, bend, don't break. Let's talk about the Alamo Heights defense here for a moment. And the numbers are not going to wow you. They're middle of the pack altogether in scoring defense in 5A Division II. But I really like their ability to make big plays when it matters most. They are very high leverage defensively, coming up with big turnovers when they need it. Most of the guys like Trip Johnson and Gianni Tovar leading the way. Again, statistically, not super impressive, but they have a knack for the moment. So when the moment arrives, can the Mules defense come up big again? And key number 3, late and close. So I'm going to spoil part of my pick here. I think this game is going to be pretty tight. These are 2 pretty evenly matched ball clubs. I think they actually match up pretty well with one another and challenge each other in interesting ways. And furthermore, I think these 2 teams have experience in games that get down to the fourth quarter. Just last week, Victoria West survived a late rally from Kerrville-Tivy to remain undefeated. While you take a look at Alamo Heights, and they split 1-score games between Schertz-Clemens and Bernie. So what does it all mean? Well, there's a lot hanging in the balance here in District 13 5A Division II. This matchup is going to go a long way towards determining who wins the district championship. Big stakes, and it's probably going to come down to the final few minutes. So, in a matchup of 2 evenly matched teams, who can hold their nerve in a late and close game? Who am I picking? I'm going with Victoria West. The Warriors get the nod here, not just because they're at home, although that certainly helps, but I also think they may have the superior defense in this ball game with guys like Javon Galvan and Jacob Freeman leading the way. Their defense, I think, has been a little bit more consistent so far this season. Now, look, I think that there's an argument that Alamo Heights has the single best playmaker in their outstanding running back, DK Garza. He can absolutely take over this game. And if they can get a lead late, they have an opportunity to hang on in what should be a really tight ball game. But I think being at home helps the Warriors, and I think they're riding high coming off of a big win last week over Kerrville-Tivy. I think Victoria West moves to 7-0. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Longhorn Stadium in George West. It is a matchup of unbeatens in District 16 3A Division II as the George West Longhorns welcome in the Odem Owls. This is one of 2 matchups of UIL unbeatens this week. We'll get to the other one in just a little bit. And these are 2 teams that can absolutely score with the best of them. Two of the top 3 statistical scoring offenses in 3A Division II. Odem can do a little bit of everything, but there's no doubt that their running game is their bread and butter. Martin Castillo and John Hinojosa lead a rushing attack that averages more than 8.5 yards per carry. But if you like running game, you are going to love George West, because the slot T is the devil, and they do it better than almost anybody. Guys like Cohen Blunt and William Ballou leading the way with an offense that averages nearly 12 yards carry on the ground. Yeah, they are really, really good at pounding the rock. The difference in this one, I think, is twofold for George West. One, I think the defense has an opportunity to steal the show, and 2, being at home there in George West is a big advantage. I think the Longhorns stay undefeated. 7 o'clock Friday night at Hornet Stadium in Munster. It is an 8-2A Division II showdown as the Lindsay Knights take on the Munster Hornets. It is the 58th installment of the Kraut Bowl. These are 2 German Catholic communities that are separated by about 10 miles, and this is a fierce rivalry. Maybe not. These are 2 towns that really get along with each other. They're actually very nice to one another. But on the field, a lot hanging in the balance here in District 8-2A Division II. Now, I think Lindsay has very quietly moved to 5-0, and I really like what they're getting from their quarterback, Lane Foster. I think he's really blossomed, and they've got an outstanding defense led by Zach Metzler that has really stepped up in a big way. They've got 3 wins over 3A teams to start the year. Very impressive. Of course, you've got Munster, the defending 2A Division II state champs, and Kaysen Carney is the star here. Now, they've got 2 losses on the year, but don't be fooled. One of them is to a state-ranked 3A Division II team in Holiday, and one of them is to a 3A Division I team in Pottsboro, punching up significantly in 2 really good teams. So I would not necessarily look at the records. Now, what I would look at is this Munster defense. Are they up to the challenge of slowing down this outstanding Lindsay attack? Now, historically, this has been a Munster team, a Munster program that has dominated this series of late. They've won 9 of the last 10 meetings, and I think at home they're going to be hard to beat. Give me the defending champs. I like Munster. And 7 o'clock Friday night at Eagle Stadium in Woodville, it is a District 12 3A Division II matchup as the Newton Eagles visit the Woodville Eagles. 2 teams that have state championship aspirations, and 2 teams that started the year pretty much exactly the same. Both lost their opener and then rattled off 5 consecutive wins to meet at this moment. And both these teams have some big-time star power. For Woodville, a team we had some questions about as far as reloading off of their run to a state championship game a year ago, Luke Babin, their quarterback, has been quite simply one of the very best players in all of 3A. 24 passing touchdowns against no interceptions. He has been dynamic, and he can run the ball as well. He is a superstar, plain and simple. Newton's got a superstar themselves in Kendra Porter Jr., the outstanding running back. He is the tip of the spear for this newfound Newton rushing attack. This game will ultimately come down to defense, and that's going to be a really interesting matchup. Now, 2 things are majorly in favor of Newton here. One of them is that they have dominated this series, okay? This is the 71st meeting between these 2 teams, and Newton has won 25 of the last 26, dating back to 1994. That is pretty significant history. The other thing, Newton is riding the state's 2nd longest district winning streak. 81 district wins in a row. I think they make it 82. Give me Newton.
The Picks is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Don't have time to go to a Dick's store this week? Just go to dicks.com.
Yo, these Katie's are fire. Bro, you work here?
Whatever, kid. Take notes. Yo, I can go all pro in these.
I can guard you and route you up.
You sure about that?
Not anymore.
Fellas looking for a quarterback?
The goal!
Billy needs cleats. You're right, Billy. These do bring out my eyes.
Every shoe for every athlete, only at Dick's.
Dick's is the GOAT.
But those are far from the only big games. In week 7 of the Texas high school football season, let's get to the lightning round. I like Cuero over Rockport. Fulton Cy Ranch gets a big district win over Waller. And hey, did you know Raymondville's undefeated? I think they keep it rolling with a win over Lyford. In our 6-man game of the week, I like Bluffdale over 3-way. Give me Marshall to squeak by Texas High. And a massive game out in the greater Fort Worth area. I like Brock over Eagle Mountain. I'm going with Groover over Stratford. Stamford gets a win over Cisco. And oh yeah, it's Duncanville DeSoto this week. I like DeSoto in a close one. I'm going with Frankston over Corsicana Mildred. Blanco bounces back with a win over Rogers. And way out west, I like the electrifying El Paso Franklin offense to get past El Paso Eastwood. I think C.E. King stays hot with a win over Humble Summer Creek. Give me Canyon Lake to take down Somerset. And I'm rolling with Lavernia over Port Lavaca Calhoun. I like Anson over Hawley. Paradise gets a win over Iowa Park. And give me Pflugerville Weiss over Buda Hayes. I like Wichita Falls City View over Jacksboro. Navasota gets a win over Needville. And staying in the Brazos Valley, I like Burton over Somerville. Huge game out west, I like Slayton over Littlefield. Huge game out east, I like unbeaten Mount Enterprise over Grapeland. And huge game in Houston, I like Tomball over Klein Oak. I like New Braunfels over Bernie. Champion, give me Pottsboro over Palmer. And I'm rolling with Newhome over Abernathy. Cross-regional district matchup here, I like Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial over Harlingen South. I like Lampasas to stay unbeaten with a win over Brownwood. And speaking of unbeaten, I'm rolling with North Forney over Rockwall Heath. Waco La Vega gets a win over Gatesville. Ganado squeaks by Weimer. And I like Seminole to beat Fort Stockton. It's a huge week in the Panhandle. I like Canyon Randall over Dumas. Huge game in Central Texas. I like Hewitt Midway in a close one over Temple. And in our private school game of the week, I like Argyle Liberty Christian over Plano Prestonwood. Give me Kilgore over Tyler Chapel Hill. I think Laredo Alexander gets a win over Medina Valley. And break up the Dons. I like Amarillo Palo Duro over Abilene Wiley. I like Hampshire Finette over Silsbee. Give me Sealy to take down Belleville. And Denton Ryan bounces back with a win over Richland. Remember how I said there were 2 matchups of UIL unbeatens in the state this week? Here's the other one. I like Salina over Sulphur Springs. Give me San Antonio Johnson over San Antonio Reagan. And Grandview gets a win over Whitney. I like Midlothian Heritage in a close one over Terrell. McAllen Memorial takes down rival McAllen High. And Beaumont Westbrook keeps rolling with a win over Baytown Sterling. Lovelady gets by Overton. The Little Southwest Conference starts this week. I think Midland Legacy takes down San Angelo Central. And El Paso del Valle gets a win over El Paso Hanks. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy week 7 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you.